I'm really excited that you're joining me today because the subject matter is very close to my heart. It's on why should we have a vision for business growth? And people say to me all the time, well, what's this whole vision for growth course that you run? Well, it's all about us knowing why we're running a business and keeping true to those goals and aims. And that has to start with ourselves. We have to look at why we started a business in the first place, whether it was to change the world or to change our world. We have to know what we're wanting to gain out of our business financially, in terms of time, investment. You know, if you're quite a young person watching this, you may have a totally different set of objectives as to why you're running your business as to someone who's older. It may be that you're wanting to get to a certain point financially in your business, and then you might want to sell it or sell shares in it. You might want to roll out a franchise, for example, and none of that can be addressed if you don't know why you're in business. And I've got some slides which I can make available to you, which will help us to work through this. But one of the key things is to have clarity, and if we can clarify business goals, then when you're looking at what you're doing in your business and your strategy and where you're wanting to go with your business, you're able to tie it in with your business goals. And those business goals should resonate with your soul, as it were, why you're in business and what you're trying to achieve for yourself. And I think one of the issues that I come up time and again with business owners is that they're not sure why they've kind of fallen into this. And very often the reason why they started running a business could be they've been made redundant and they needed to find a revenue stream quickly, or it could have been that they moved and their partner had a job and they needed to find something and there wasn't the work around that they thought. Sometimes it's because people are working for an organisation thinks, you know, I can do this better and want to offer a better service than what they've been delivering for say a corporate organisation. And sometimes if people have got amazing inventions, and I like my little man over there, got lots of ideas going on. You know, some of the entrepreneurs I work with absolutely inundated with lots of different ideas, and I try to help them to find the most effective and profitable ones, and maybe sell some of their ideas on to other people if they're not going to be able to run with all of their amazing ideas that are running around. So the other reason for having a vision for business growth is to improve core business. So if you know what your outcome measures are, whether that is that you want to have a certain, shall we say, salary from your business, you're wanting drawings from your business, whatever it is, if you don't know what that is in the ultimate end goal of that, it's very hard to then determine whether you're on track in terms of what your turnover needs to be to bring that through. So we need to improve your core business to make sure that you've got regular business coming in, you've got sustainability written into the infrastructure of your business, and that you're not going through these huge peaks and troughs relying on big clients and then lots of smaller, I say clients, but it could be bigger projects, bigger you know, products that you're creating, but that you're not relying on those bigger peaks so much so that the smaller peaks that, you know, are being ignored. And I do believe that you need to have three levels within a business: the small, the medium and the larger projects, which then keep the sustainability. I remember working with somebody, must have been about 12 years ago, and their business was very much focused on two major clients, which was great, but they needed to then look at how they were going to get in a lot more smaller clients, and which were added up to the potential for a larger client, but meant that if one of those dropped out, it wasn't so catastrophic. And they built up to, whereas their business was probably 80% these two clients and 20% of their business was the smaller clients, they ended up bringing a kind of a 50-50 match, which was great, because unfortunately one of the larger clients went into receivership, and so therefore they could have been themselves in a dire financial situation if they'd had all of their eggs in those two baskets. And so it's really important to look at where your customers are coming from and how you can bring in sort of stability within your core business. It's also important to put structures in place, because if you're putting structures in place within your business, you know, if you know what your ultimate goal is for you and what you're wanting from the business, and then who the staff are that are going to go along with you in that business, you're then able to have a decent structure in place to meet that, and have decent performance indicators for your staff, and also keep yourself accountable. So I've written some of this down because I want to make sure that it's not just coming from the heart, but I do keep some content in it that's going to be really resonating with you and help you to see why I think you need to have a vision for growth, and why we need to work on your why. And your why matters, because your why is what gives you the passion each day to get up. It gives you the passion to instill processes within your business, which gets your staff engaged and excited about what you're doing. And it helps you to, when you know what your purpose is in life, you're able to be much more effective. So if you know what your purpose is within your life, within your business, you are able to be passionate about that and be clear in your objectives when you're talking with other people, be they customers, staff, or even family members who, let's be honest, are giving up quite a bit of their life so that you can run your business. So I've got a little thing that I've written down here, and I'm going to just read it out. Why does it matter? It gives your life clarity. People who know their purpose in life are unstoppable. They are true to their purpose and shape their lives accordingly. People who don't know their purpose in life are not clear about what they want and therefore waste their time on futile things. So that's about your why. So when I do this session with people, one of the key things that I do talk about is the fact that we have a brain. We all know that. Some people use it, some people don't. But no, we all have a brain, and we have what we call left brain and right brain. So the left brain is all the facts, the figures, perhaps the processes, the finances. And the right brain is all the things to do with why we're doing it, the creativity part of us, the marketing perhaps side of it, the, shall we say, the ideas and innovation side of us. And for a perfect balance, we need to be using both left and right brain, but we've all got a certain sway, shall we say, to one kind of way of thinking, be it left or right brain. So generally people who are accountants are left brain thinkers. Generally people who are marketeers are right brain thinkers. It doesn't mean that you can't be down the middle, but what I'm trying to do with helping you to look at your vision for growth and look at your why is to look at both aspects of your brain, because you are the creator of this business. You have created products, services, and you need to know what's happening for you and that it resonates with your core values. So I want to do a little exercise with you, and that is kind of based a little bit about visualization, and that will feel uncomfortable for you who are left brain thinkers, but we do need to start with this because it engages with your core purpose for being in business for yourself. So I need you to just step out your comfort zone if you're a left brain thinker for a bit. Trust me, later on in the course, you will feel in your element, and there'll be the right brain thinkers who'll be thinking, oh, how on earth am I going to get through this bit? I do try to use all sorts of tools and imaginative resources to try and help the left brain thinkers to realise the grounding of the right brain side of the work we do, and for those who are right brain thinkers to be able to say, do you know what, I don't use jargon or difficult words, and I try to make it as simplistic as possible and exciting and fun and creative so that you can see the why in there for you, because we do all need to engage with this whole process. And that's the downside of the old-fashioned type of business plans, really. They're very much about writing down very factual information, but if you've got all that coming from a passion and from your heart, and you know what that's going to be, you're able far more effectively to fill out a business plan because it comes easy to you. So that's why I start with this. So will you come on a journey with me? You're here in this session, and what I'd like to do is for you to just spend a moment just blocking out all the noises around you. And I'd like you, if you're comfortable with it, and whether that's to turn the camera off and just listen to my voice, or whether that's to close your eyes, to just for a minute bring yourself to a place of calm. And what I'd like you to do is to put your feet on the floor and feel whatever's beneath you with that wood or carpet or grass if you're outside. And I'd like you to just calm your thoughts. One of the best ways of doing this is to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And we'll do this for a count of 5 to concentrate on our breathing. So in with your nose and out with your mouth. In and out. And in and out. And in and out. In and out. Now I'd like you to think of somewhere that you relax. So whether that's your bed or your sofa or in your garden. And imagine being sat there. The best way to do this is to have your eyes closed, because you can now imagine being sat in that really, really calm and happy place. Imagine the seat underneath you. Feel the texture of it. Still have your feet on the ground. Just totally relax into that place. And what I'd like you to do is take yourself on a bit of a journey. And I'd like you to imagine that there's a door in front of you. I want you to imagine the door that's in front of you. It could be glass or it could be wood. Maybe it's the door in your house. I'd like you in your mind's eye to go towards that door and open it. And behind this door is you. In 3 years' time, you're looking out of this door at the world around you in 3 years' time. And what I'd like you to do is, first of all, concentrate on what you can see. What are you able to see? Is it the sea? Is it the countryside? Have you got a front garden? Is this your work? And are you looking out of your office door at the world around you? I'd like you to imagine that the car that you own is sat there on the drive or in the parking space. And what kind of car is it? And today you're having a day which is filled with all the things you love. So I'd like you to imagine that you get into your car and you're going to the place that you love. Who are you with? What are you doing? What is around you? And I'd like you to think carefully about the sights and the smells. I'd like you to think about how that makes you feel. Do you feel good about what's around you? And if I had a magic wand to make this the perfect scenario, what would be different? So you're walking into that reality. You feel light, you feel happy. The things that matter to you are around you. The people that matter. The house, the car. And you're walking into your workplace that you own. And what are you going to be doing today? What are the things that you love about this work? Think about those things for just a minute. And your day pans out and you've had a wonderful day doing what it is that you enjoy. It lifts your spirits and your soul. And you leave And what are you going to do now? Who are you going to spend your time with? How long have you spent at work? And so you get back into your car at the end of this wonderful day. Perhaps you've been out with loved ones. Perhaps you've watched the sunset. I don't know. But this has been the best day because this is your best life. And you get back in your car and you go back to where you live and you take notice of what your home looks like. And you open your front door and you notice who's around you. And so you sit back in your chair in your current life now. I'd like to feel the chair beneath you and the ground beneath your feet. I'd like to come back to breathing just for a few breaths. In through your nose and out through your mouth. And in through your nose and out through your mouth. And in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now I'd like you to open your eyes or come back to the screen. And I'd like you to pause this video and write down everything that you saw in that world. Thank you for coming back to me. I'm taking it that you have now written down all the things that you saw and you heard. And what I'd like to do is reflect on how your life looks. And I'd like you to be writing on, getting your big piece of paper out that I alluded to that you'd need for this exercise, and writing down the things that you are looking at. So whether that's the house, the car, all of those things, and be writing that down on the right hand side of your piece of paper. Right at the far side, and then we're going to draw a line there because then we're going to work on how that can become a reality. But what I want you to do is to notice all the things that are important to you. Was it time? What about money? How much money do you think you're going to need to live this lifestyle? What I want you to think about is, you said that you'd walk through the door and you had your ideal life. What were you doing in your work? What was your home like? All those things that created this ideal life, I'd like you to write down. I'd like you to write it on this piece of paper on the right hand side. And then I'd like you to write on the left hand side of this piece of paper. So you've got this big piece of paper and just a column on the left. I don't want to fill up the whole page. What your life is like now. So if you've written down that you're working in an office, in a little office from home, in your big vision, you're in a big glass office with 40 staff, then you need to write down where you are now and where you want to be. So on each of the things. So if you've got a particular car, but you'd have this car in your dream, in your vision, then put the car you have now over here on the left and the car you'd like on the right. And so on. So I'll give you a few minutes to do that. I'm hoping that you paused the video and you're all back with me now. So why have we done that? Well, obviously there's going to have to be a step change in your personal life for you to be able to, for example, if there's nothing wrong with any of the things that I'm talking about, okay? Because for everybody there's a different catalyst as to why they're doing things. So if you've got, I don't know, a Fiat now and you're looking for a Mercedes SLK, now you've got a second-hand Fiat, but you're wanting a brand new Mercedes, then it's kind of like, so how much is that Fiat costing you at the moment? How much will it cost you? So this is about, actually you've said that you wanted £80,000 a year, but actually the reality is if you're going to have a brand new Mercedes, then how much is that going to cost you? Is that going to go through your business, or is that going to be your personal possession? So that's something that we need to be looking at. Is this going to be an outgoing for your business or for you personally? Is this a family car? Is this your second car? I don't know, but you know that. So all the time we're saying, okay, so what house have you got? Well, you might have the dream house and you're wanting to actually downsize. Perhaps your children are at a transitional age where they're going to be leaving home and you want a smaller house. Or it could be that you are needing to, scale up your home. Perhaps you're looking to have a family. For some people, the reason what the things that they're looking for is that they're looking for money because they want to put their child through some form of private education, or they want to go on X amount of foreign trips a year. So those are things that you need to be putting down in your why, in your column on the right hand side, which is what you're aspiring to. So why am I doing this? Well, because I work with a couple who got 2 children, and they left the jobs that they were in at the time to set up their own business. I worked with them before they left their jobs, I need to say. And we looked at what their lifestyle was now and what they wanted, but they wanted to run their own business. And it's like, so, okay, so in the short term, there might have to be some compromising on the things that you're used to now because you're going to start a new business. But if we're looking at 3 years down the line, and that's what you want to be back at, then how are we going to make that a reality? And so we looked at what they actually needed to have that kind of lifestyle, in terms of what they both needed to earn from the business, what the holidays were, what their outgoings for their children were, etc. This is a big piece of work, because it's not just about, the visualization I've given you, but I want you to return to this and say, okay, so what am I trying? What am I doing this all for? I mean, as I said, you might be at a different life stage and wanting to have more time. You wanting to retire. Great. But we need to know what that retirement looks like, and if you've got enough money in the pot pension wise, and are you going to be taking money out of the business and being a silent partner, or how are we going to manage that? Because this has to work. In amongst that, I'd like you to just go back to that little column over on the right there and say, what else are you wanting for you from your business? So, and I mean to dig deep a little bit more here. Are you wanting to be a well-known author? Or are you wanting to be known for running successful businesses and floating them? Or are you wanting, you might want to have the next best remedy for something, or you have an invention that's in you. So what is it that you're wanting to be doing in your business? And I think I said to you, you walked into your business and you'd got your ideal business. So you walk in and you find that you are doing everything you want to be doing. So you might be meeting with publishers, or you could be, your ideal day could be going to a book signing, or it could be that your ideal day is that you're on the beach with your children. I have no idea, but this is really, really crucial, because this helps you to map out what your business has to return for you in order for you to have that lifestyle. So hopefully you're starting to see a little bit of sense in all of this. If you're working from an office in your home, there's quite a step change to having a big office with several staff in. But if you don't want that, and that isn't your ideal, then that needs to be factored in as to how you're going to grow your business to meet the demand that you're going to need to turn over in order to give you the lifestyle you want and the life that you've dreamed of. And it's all about small and incremental step changes. I worked with one lady who, when I saw her, she'd been running a business from home. She was doing really well. She was writing blogs. She was creating products which she was selling. And so people were coming to her for the products and for her knowledge, but she wasn't really capitalising on that and being a key person of influence within her sphere of expertise. So we looked at, how she was going to get the lifestyle she wanted, and she wanted to be on the beach and she wanted to be travelling, and it was kind of like, how's this going to happen if you grow your business to the extent you want to? Because by actually looking at it, if her business grew to the extent she wanted, she was going to be running a manufacturing plant, and she may well have had managers in there, but realistically in the short term she probably would have had to be managing it herself. So then we were saying, well, actually, at what point are you going to be able to move away from this and start traveling? And it didn't become the reality she was hoping it was going to be. So we then looked at, okay, so you've got a great idea, you've got a great following. She actually had, I can't remember, I mean, I don't even know if I've written it down here, but she had thousands of people following her. She wrote an amazing article and it went viral. And so suddenly she had overnight thousands of people following her. So how could she capitalise on all of that? Well, do you know what? We went and found people who would be willing to create the products. They signed a non-disclosure agreement in order for, and she protected her IP, and then she was able to outsource the manufacture, make a percentage of that, obviously, but she then concentrated on the huge following she got, and she became that key person of influence, writing blogs. And actually, the very thing she wanted to do was to travel. She wrote blogs on her travels. So she would go to Bali, or she would go to Thailand, or she'd go to India, and she would write about whatever it was the cultural impact on her products and on her expertise, and how people in those cultures were dealing with things. And people were following her, and so she set up a membership stream, and people became members for a nominal amount because of the huge following she had. And she started making a lot of money and doing what she loved, and having time and spending time on the beach and throwing herself into Indigenous cultures and enjoying her life, whilst meanwhile having this income from the manufacturing side of her business. So it was all doable. And I worked with someone else who unfortunately had a huge life change due to health, and they were unable, they were actually in the say massage, in the beauty sort of massage side, and started having problems with their hands, and were unable to continue to do that, but still had a passion for that. So you know what they did? They set up a school to train people to do that, so they could show people in a smaller capacity but have huge impact. So created training modules as training school, and started to become a person of influence within social media, and raised their I'm trying to think of the right word, their status and who they were to a much greater level. And so suddenly they were still able to do what they loved, and they were able to help people, and were able to still impact on probably a greater number of people, and share their expertise and knowledge and their passion for quality, which was what driven them to go self-employed in the first place. So they were driven by people being unqualified and not being particularly good at what they were delivering. And she was like, I want to do this better, I want to be the best at what I do. And so now she's acclaimed internationally for what she does, but actually she's doing less, she's earning more, which is what it's all about. And she's enjoying her life, and that is really crucial. And so she's able to remain passionate about quality, about delivering a good service, and sharing her expertise without actually crippling herself with her hands anymore. So I want you to just go away and now work on this a little bit more. I want you to have a bit more clarity as to the ideas that are going around in your head. Perhaps look a bit more at where you want to be, and then look a bit more at where you are. And we're going to look on our next session, we're going to look at, okay, so that's what you want from your business, to what it needs to provide for you, your lifestyle. And then we will start to look at, okay, in order to do that, how are we going to turn that around to make sure that you're bringing in the kind of financials that you need in order to make this business viable, to provide that lifestyle and for you. So go back to it. I've got some, as I say, I've got some slides, and I've got a fact sheet. Do the exercises on it, and then when you've done that, you'll be ready for your next session with me, which is financial freedom. How are we going to get financial freedom to do all of those amazing things? So I want to say thank you for your time today. I hope you've enjoyed that. Go back to the fact sheets, work on it, and come back to me to let's look at how we're going to put that into practice and get you financial freedom. Thank you very much.